Ryan Clark and Deion discuss NFL blackballing players. Let's watch it, then I will come back with my commentary.
I know there's a lot of rumors about the next level, and I can't see that. Yeah. I can't see the next level. And I think a couple people who may have taken shots at my kids, they were afraid that I would go. That's where the shots came from. All you got to do is just sit back and listen. People don't want to do that. They want to create these narratives and create these stories and then attach them to a kid that ain't never done nothing wrong.
Yeah. How does that make you feel when you see your colleagues or your peers going in on you, man? Like, how does that make you feel?
No idea, man. You have no idea. We've always been in front of the camera, so they know how to navigate. They know how to handle themselves. Yeah. And you're not going to catch them in no foolery and no mess. You're not, when you sit up there and say something like, he went in a meeting unprepared, like, dude, SHEDEUR Sanders, who's had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and went up, leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're gonna tell me he
every situation.
You're gonna tell me he had on headphones.
So you a dog, your kid's a dog, and dogs gonna always rise to the top. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. You know what I mean? Then we're talking about
it did hurt. The Bible says God uses the foolish things to confound the wise. So it was some foolish stuff that went on, but you know what? That gave them something that they needed.
Maybe it's my algorithm, but I see Shiloh and SHEDEUR more than I've ever seen any undrafted guy or 5th round guy on social media in the history of Instagram, Threads, Twitter, X, whatever it is. Like, those dudes are everywhere. And they caught some of Deion's strays, right? Deion had a level of greatness that was untouchable. Right? Deion could say, yeah, I'm not interviewing with these people because I'm not going to be there in the draft. Deion could say, hey, I already ran 140. I ain't effing with no more of this testing because y'all already know I'm top 5 and it ain't tripping. Watch the film, know who I am. That's the difference between, I think, Deion and who his kids were. And then I think Deion's approach to it made other people, Deion's fame, right? Deion's success, Deion's ability to one day be a head coach in the league. Also, Deion's ability and what he's done in navigating the present, right? When we talk about college of his children and now going into the pros, this was the first thing he couldn't control. And they was like, I got you. Now, it's not about the actual evaluation. Because like what Freddie said, if you evaluate him a certain way, then that's just the evaluation. It was the chatter, right? It was the conversation around him. So many things about SHEDEUR during the draft process were character, personality. All these things that we can't prove on the outside, right? We were able to watch the film and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe his pocket movement ain't what you want in the first round. Maybe he doesn't have the speed to extend plays. Maybe he doesn't have the rocket arm like some of these dudes. But every report was about something we couldn't refute, also something folks couldn't prove. I feel like Deion's hurt also comes from him always being able to take care of his kids as a father and having a little bit of a feeling that some of this is because of me and I can't take it away from them. You know how it is as dads, man. It's like you want all the good for your kids and none of the bad. And then when anything's bad, that's why kids cry, right? Because when they know when they cry, we want to figure out how to stop you from crying. You hungry, you wet, you tired. Let me tend to that from the time that they're born. And Deion finally got to a point where he was like, damn, can't do it. And I think that's difficult to deal with.
There's been a growing conversation around why SHEDEUR Sanders, one of college football's top quarterbacks, didn't receive the draft buzz that many expected, and some believe it has less to do with his performance and more to do with his last name. SHEDEUR, the son of NFL Hall of Famer and current Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, put up impressive numbers at Jackson State and continued to shine at Colorado. He demonstrated poise, accuracy, and leadership, all qualities NFL teams look for in a franchise quarterback. But despite this, he didn't enter the 2024 NFL Draft. Why? Because according to reports and rumors, there was a sense that NFL teams might have shunned him or overlooked him, not because of talent, but because of who his father is. Deion Sanders has always been outspoken, he challenges norms, he speaks his mind, and he's not afraid to call out institutions, including the NFL. That boldness, some say, may have rubbed team executives the wrong way. The theory goes that teams weren't eager to deal with the prime time factor, the media attention, the expectations, and Deion's strong influence on how his son's career should be handled. SHEDEUR himself even hinted at this dynamic, saying in interviews that he wasn't going to a team where he'd be backing up someone for 4 years. That kind of confidence, paired with his father's high standards, might have made NFL front offices wary. The narrative became less about SHEDEUR's play and more about the baggage, or perceived control, that Deion might bring with him. So rather than risk going to a team that didn't truly believe in him or entering a system that didn't feel right, SHEDEUR, with his father's backing, chose to stay in school, bet on himself, and wait for 2025. In the end, whether or not he was truly shunned is still up for debate. But what's clear is this: the Sanders name carries weight, and sometimes that weight can be a double-edged sword. Opening doors, but also making others hesitant to walk through them.